Hello, my name is Ashanwa. Welcome to LAJA. Do you love vintage and do you love African print clothing? Well, if you love both, today's video is on my vintage African print clothing or my Ankara clothing collection. Before we dive in, a quick introduction. My name is Ashanwa. Welcome to LAJA. This is a channel dedicated to African fashion, prints, and textiles. I love their beauty, diversity, and versatility. And my mission is to really promote that on this channel and make this a platform where it's your go-to destination for all things African fashion, African textiles, and African prints. So if that sounds like your jam, I encourage you to subscribe, like the video, and let's build this community where we all learn and grow together. So today's video was inspired by my other videos in terms of you all seem to really love my African print clothing videos, and I felt like I should do more and really expound on it. The reason I'm showing you all my vintage collection today is because it stands to a testament of what this channel and myself really stand for, and that is quality, craftsmanship, and longevity. In the world of fast fashion, don't get me wrong, I do purchase clothing that is made from fast fashion retailers. So I'm not saying that I am completely immune to this, but a majority of my closet is made from natural materials and fibers like cotton, linen, wool, cashmere, and more. And I truly believe that when you invest in your clothing, you are investing in yourself, because you are adorning yourself with pieces that not only are natural, but they're breathable, they're good for your skin, they're good for the environment, and even from a spiritual perspective as well. If you study the frequency of various clothing materials and linens like cotton, wool, cashmere, you see that they do have a higher frequency and higher vibration. And we all know that when you are on a higher vibration as an individual, you attract better things into your reality and into your world. So, a lot of the African print clothing I'm sharing with you today are made from cotton, which is what I had mentioned is, if you learn about the history of African print and Ankara material, you know that they are made from cotton. So, these pieces were mostly passed on from my mother, and I'm really excited to show them to you today. And hopefully you can learn more about the importance of investing in high quality prints, high quality clothing that really stand the test of time. So let's begin with the first piece. So I guess I should probably give an introduction on what is vintage clothing. So vintage clothing refers to any piece of cloth that is at least 20 years or older in age and is known for its distinct style and design. So age is really the big determining factor of what vintage clothing entails. And if you go to thrift stores or secondhand stores, you'll probably be able to find clothing from the 90s and 80s, or even at this time, since we're in 2025, the early 2000s, clothing made in the 2000s would be considered vintage at this point. So I really like vintage clothing because a lot of times the craftsmanship is better, the material is better, and you can really, it's often less expensive. I know things are more expensive now with inflation and the socioeconomic environment, but generally vintage clothing are more cost effective than if you were to buy brand new, and a lot of times you're also going to get it at a better craftsmanship and with better material. So that's really what vintage is. So what is African print clothing or African print? So I've already done a video on my channel on the meaning of African print. I have several videos on there, so I encourage you to watch that. But a quick summary of it, it's basically cotton fabric that is printed on, that has various meanings based on the culture and the society that it comes from. But African print is really the symbol of West African pride. So if you go to a Nigerian country or to Nigeria or a West African country, you definitely can't leave without purchasing some form of print because it's so embedded in the culture. So I came up with this smart idea to combine African print and vintage and come up with the concepts of vintage African print clothing. So what does that mean? Vintage African print clothing means any African print that is 20 years or older. So it combines the concept of what vintage clothing is, but we make it specific to African print or Ankara clothing. So that is it for the concepts that I coined. If you have any vintage prints or vintage clothing that you'd love to share, I would love to hear about it. So let's have a discussion, or you can leave it in the comment section if you're catching the replay. And I'm going to go into my collection now. So like I said, a lot of this has been gotten from my mom, and I'm happy to show them to you today. So the first piece is this dress. So it did belong to my mom, and I'm actually happy that I'm able to wear some of the clothing that my mom wears because it makes me feel skinny. But this is the first dress. It is this very pretty mock neck mini dress that has an open back here. And I think this cloth is about 25 years. My mom had this in her 20s. And my mom is actually about to turn 50 now. So this cloth or this dress is 25 years old. So I do wear it from time to time. It is on the tighter end, and I'm in the process of losing weight so I can fit even better into this dress. But I really love this piece. So that's the first one. So the second vintage piece I have is this brown number here. This dress, it's really great for church, it's great for work, it's great for more formal occasions, I think. And you can see how it contains buttons on here and also sequins on the material just to give it a bit more flair. And yeah, it's a knee-length dress with a square shoulder, and it comes with a belt at the back. So this is fully covered. My mom is pretty conservative in her dress style. She's very stylish, but she is conservative because I'm Nigerian, and that's pretty much how the dress system is. It's more on the conservative end. And yeah, so this is something that I would wear, or she would wear, to church. And yeah, I'm not too sure the name of the egg materials. I know some of them, but I know she has some. I have some visco pieces in here, which you can't get anymore, and that's pretty amazing. But even down here in the dress as well, you see that it is also lined with silk to give it more of a flare. So that's the second dress in my collection. Okay, so now on to the third item is this top. So this top is a mixture of silk and the African print material. This is a blue and I guess I would call it a blue and yellow material. And it's a very simple top. I could wear this top before, but unfortunately I have outgrown it. So it doesn't fit anymore, especially around the chest area. But this is another piece that was from my mom that I think this is about 20 years old. You can't get this material or style anymore, and it's so amazing how well this item is crafted. It has an invisible line zip, and it's just very stylish, and I know when I could wear it I always got compliments on it. Okay, so on to the next dress. I actually redid this dress. You've probably seen this in a few of my African print haul videos, but this dress is actually vintage and it belongs to my mom. It used to be a full length dress, but I had it cut because I prefer shorter dresses like what I'm wearing today. As you can see, I prefer dresses that are on the thigh length, so I had it cut, and I haven't actually tried this dress in a while. I remember I wore it for like graduation when I graduated from college, but I haven't tried it on so to see if it still fits. But I still have it in my collection because I love it so much, and I actually am emotionally attached to it in the sense that it was from my mom. It comes with a chain, and it has this silk sash on it that just adds a very luxe feel to it. I had done a video on ways you can make your African print more, you can look more expensive in African print, and this is just this was a dress that I used as a demonstration. So yeah, there's this dress. It's long sleeve and it's fully covered, so it's also modest and shows off your legs. I like to show off my legs because I feel like it's one of my best features. Then onto this piece, I love this jumpsuit. This is an Ankara jumpsuit that I still wear till today. It has sequins on it, so I'm going to come closer so you can see it, but you can see the sequins on here, the pink sequins. And I love wearing this to work because it just works so well for work. And it's a full-length jumpsuit that is very chic and very aesthetically pleasing. It comes with pockets as well, so if you're a girl that loves comfort and comfort, this is really a good piece to go for. And yeah, this also belongs to my mom, and I truly love and adore it. So that's another vintage Ankara or African print piece in my wardrobe. And also, I think this is a visco fabric, if I'm not mistaken. This is a visco fabric. This is visco. But I don't think you can get this particular print in the market anymore because, like I said, this jumpsuit is over 20 years old at this point. Now on to one of my favorite pieces ever. I am obsessed with this dress. So this is a wrap dress that belonged to my mom, and I honestly adore the color. I adore the sheen, the material. This is also a visco print. Like, visco wax just feels different. I don't know how to explain it, but I think that just speaks to the testament of the quality. I'm a huge visco fan, and I have a good number of prints from them, and I will continue to purchase from them. It's just different. It hits differently, and they do last. So this is how the dress looks like. It's just a very simple wrap dress. I like to layer it on with other dresses too, or you could wear it by itself. The last time I wore it earlier this week, I wore it with this black dress over here, but this is a very simple wrap dress made with visco print, visco Hollandaise wax print, also from my mom. And then last but not the least is this boo-boo. This is also a vintage piece. I actually stole this from my mom very recently, so she doesn't know. Oh, I guess she knows now if she watches this video. But it's a very simple boo-boo wrap, a boo-boo dress that is pink and black, and I just love the color combination. And I love boo-boos because they're just so versatile and simple to have and to make, and also wear and style at the same time. So if you're someone who loves like a very simple look, this is the one for you. And then let's see, I'm looking for, okay, so I want to show you, this is not a piece of cloth. This is actually a wrapper, or I don't know, the Nigerian term is wrapper, but it's a piece of cloth that you tie around your body and you can use to cover yourself. But this is a vintage print that you probably cannot wear anymore. This is like a classic African print. Like, if you're Nigerian, your parents or your mom or your dad or your aunt or uncle, they probably have a print like this in this material at home with them. I forget where it's from. Let me see if it says it on the label. But this is like a very classic African print style. The horses, Please tell me I'm not the only one that recognizes this print. Like, please, maybe in like Nollywood movies, you would see people wear wrappers or coverings with in this particular pattern. And yeah, I got this from my mom as well. So this is a classic vintage OG African print wrapper. So you can see the horses. Let me turn it this way. So you can see the horses on there, but this is a classic African print that I still don't know if you can buy it in the market. I hope one can, but this is over 20 or 30 years old. I promise you, my mom has had this for a really long time. And yeah, I'm going to fold that up and let it go. So that is pretty much it, I would say, for my classic African print clothing. And I would love to know, if you're on this live right now, do you have any clothing that is vintage or is a classic style that you consider timeless? A lot of the clothing that I showed you recently are timeless, and not only do they stand the test of time, but they are also modern as well. So you could wear it today, which I do, and not look dated, which I feel is very important, because I feel like sometimes some styles can look outdated or old, but the pieces I showed you, the wrap dresses, the tops, the jumpsuits, those are all very classic, timeless styles that really stand the test of time. So that is it for my presentation, and I want to open it up to questions on that I've been getting. So I was reading through my comments. If you have any questions from me right now, this will be the time, but I also have a few questions that I would like to address. So the first question that I have gotten from my audience is on how to care for your African print clothing. So because African print is usually made of cotton, you can wash it in the washing machine, but you should wash it in light colors on cold water and in a gentle cycle. Personally, I prefer to hand wash it, but let's be honest, I will not be hand washing anything. Just keeping it real, I do not wash things by hand, if I'm being honest, at this point in my life. Things may change, but right now it's either the washing machine or the dry cleaners, and I'm sure you're probably the same way. But for your African print clothing, I suggest that you wash them on a gentle cycle in cold water, and do not dry them in the dryer machine. Air dry them. That is the best way that you can care for your African print clothing to ensure that they last. First things first is that you do have to ensure that they are quality, that you get quality wax print, because that is the genesis of it all. But if you want to sustain what your clothing or your prints, then I suggest that you don't wash them often. You can air dry them if you wear them like once or twice or 3 times. But if you do have a situation that you have to wash them, then I suggest that you use your washing machine. Or better yet, the best option is to wash by hand. That is the best option that I would say. And then another question that I get asked frequently is, where do I get my African print clothing from? So the truth is that most of my clothing are custom made, meaning that I typically buy the prints, or my mom buys the prints for me, and then I pick the style and I work with tailors back home in Nigeria to have them sewed and designed and created, essentially. So most of my African prints clothing, you won't be able to find them anywhere else because they're custom and unique to me. But recently, I have been looking for brands that specialize in African print and wax print. And I recently found one that I really like called Kumo London. So it's Cumo LONDON.com, and I purchased a few clothing from them, and I recently did a haul that you all really seem to love. I have a coupon code with them. I'm an affiliate partner with them, and you can get 15% off your purchase using the code Mistress LAJA. And I'm going to leave all these details down in the comments or in the description box for your reference. So for now, that is one brand that I really like, but I would say that I'm definitely open to exploring more brands who are in the African print and African fashion space, because I do want my channel to be a hub, and I want to be your go-to girl for all things African prints and African textiles and fashion. So that is it for that question, and I want to share, because I really want you all to get to know me as well, a quick story time. I was in college and I was really heavy into my blogging, and I had my blog misslaja.com where I was talking about African textiles and sharing my style. So I was a fashion blogger essentially, and so I really wanted to intern for, and I was kind of really young and naive, and I wanted to intern with this Etsy brand that I'm not going to say their name out loud because they don't exist anymore. But his name was Ruben Ruel, the owner. His name was Ruben Ruel, and he made like the most beautiful, well, what I thought was some of the most beautiful African print clothing that I had ever laid my eyes on. And I really wanted to intern for him. He was based in New York, and I just thought he was all around amazing. So I reached out to him on Etsy and I was like, hey, I attend this school. I'm looking for summer internships. I would love, like, I was even willing to intern with him for free. And if you know me, anyone that knows me personally knows that I don't work for free. I dislike working for free. Like, I don't like working for free. Point blank, period. I like being compensated for the skill sets and the value that I bring, but I really was like a fangirl, like a hardcore fangirl, and I was willing to work with him for free just to learn his behind the scenes and stuff. But he didn't I think he responded and said that he wasn't taking interns or something like that. But I'm looking back at it now and I'm realizing that he was like a very small brand, probably up and coming, but my perception of him was that he was this big time fashion designer based in New York and stuff. So things didn't end up panning out, unfortunately, and I think right now he's out of business, unfortunately, because I shop on Etsy a lot, and I did go to his page, and I've searched for him and I haven't found his Etsy shop anymore, unfortunately. So I really have been on this journey of exploring African prints and African textiles for a long time. I truly am hoping that this time around I would stick with it and see it through the long run and the long term. And yeah, it's just a short story time that I felt like I wanted to share, just for you all to know a bit about me and to know that my passion for this craft and for this knowledge runs deep. Yeah, that is pretty much it, I would say. So I'm going to go through the comments now. If you all have any questions for me that are live right now, I was talking about my vintage African prints collection and I showcased a few pieces, so you can catch the replay if you missed it. And I'm only seeing some people saying hi, so hello to you all. And yeah, I'm about to head out now, so I won't be on for too long, but let me know what next you want to see from my channel, and I will be happy to create more. I'm really excited for the topics that will be coming soon. I have a lot of teaching videos on different African textiles I've been researching. I have styling videos as well that are coming soon, and of course I also show you all how my daily makeup looks as well, where I'm featuring my handmade headbands, my handmade crystal headbands. You can see that I am wearing the black tourmaline today. And I also have my handmade in Nigeria earrings too. So these are also made by my mom in Nigeria, and they are amazing. They come in a variety of colors that I think will be pleasing to you. So thank you for tuning into the live, and I will see you in my next live. Bye. Take care.